I pulled the cards for the intermediate shuffle a little bit different than I normally do because I could feel anxiety like welling in our collective. Now our ruler is going retrograde as I'm recording this tomorrow. Thank God. But shadow, I feel, especially those of you that have Mercury retrograde natally, or again, obviously you're ruled by Mercury. I feel like the shadow period actually hits us harder than retrograde itself. Okay, so first we have the Hierophant with the Five of Cups. And I feel like the more I sit with this, Virgo, because we have the Ten of Cups over here with the King of Swords, and this was behind it, Queen of Pentacles was behind it, or when I stopped shuffling, I don't remember. I feel we're in a period of mourning of what we understand commitment and in our traditions and especially the way our culture feeds into that, whatever your personal culture is. I feel like there's a mourning that needs to happen. Because in order for you to arrive at the Ten of Cups, you have to really know what your Ten of Cups embodies, right? Because it's different for everybody. There's plenty of people that if I describe the Ten of Cups to them as like the white picket fence and the wife and the kids and the BMW or whatever, they'd be like, that sounds awful. You know what I mean? Because that's not what aligns with them. And the Hierophant talks about what your traditions are and what you can commit to, right? Because you can't commit to something that you don't believe in, that you don't want to serve, right? Because there's also a certain level of service with the Hierophant, but you don't want to serve an individual. You want to serve a belief system or a structure or a higher non-physical power. So you may also have seen relationships or commitment or again things that you commit yourself to as something that you have to serve. And you may have taken your autonomy out of it. And again, you may still be, quote, worshiping an old method or like way of committing or a lifestyle. I feel like this is a lifestyle as well. And I feel like, you know, you may be like, oh, at 30 or at the age that I'm at, or as a woman or as someone that doesn't have kids or whatever the case, you know, how you identify yourself in a societal standard. At this point, I should have achieved this. Because the Five of Cups always talks about something that has already changed, that has already caused some type of disappointment. I feel like you're seeing the root of your disappointment. And also, you're finally able to extract the lesson out of it because you understand there's nothing left to mourn. What you're actually mourning is something that doesn't even align with your overall beliefs. With the Five of Wands and the Ace of Pentacles, I feel like you're struggling to solidify an opportunity. Okay? I feel like there may be also a concern that if you don't exert this like extreme amount of effort, that you won't be able to achieve something or you won't be able to ground something. Because notice how this is the only Earth card here. So emotional states don't necessarily have to be rooted or solidified with something that is physically measurable. And that may be something that you struggle with. You maybe struggle to getting things off the ground in a physical way, but your emotions are already there. But with the Five of Wands too, I feel like it's important to ask yourself, what you fighting for? And what do you feel you're fighting against? Like, what do you think your biggest opponent is in being able to solidify whatever it is, especially things that make you feel good, right? Because you're jumping from the 5 to the 10, because then we have the King of Swords, the 10 of Cups. And I feel like as you get very deliberate and specific about what it is that really makes you feel good, because I feel like when you're in that emotional state, I think that your brain is also really still active. And I feel like Spirit is trying to teach you that, like, you're not always going to understand how you feel. You're not always going to have the words to describe how good something feels. And you may not even be able to rationalize it in your mind, but you also can transcend the duality, like the dual nature of your overall being. I feel like that's what this Lover's card is talking about. It's saying that King of Swords, in order to be decisive and clear on what you want and what makes you feel good, you have to understand that it may not always make sense, okay? It's not always going to be something that you can explain. I don't know why the Six of Cups is in reverse, but you may also feel like you're feeding into nostalgia, or that you're basing this realization on something that is from the past. But with the Six of Cups in reverse, I feel like it's not rooted in the past, and that's how you're gonna know. Like, so if you feel like you keep associating like love languages or what makes you feel good with past experiences, I feel like you have the power, especially after Mercury comes out of shadow, which will be April 16th. Okay, so the first half of April, we're going over the degrees that Mercury was already in. So if you're a Virgo rising, this is happening in your seventh house, and the seventh house is all about partnerships, but also open enemies. So with Pisces ruling this area, that can get really tricky because you tend to also see the best in people that may not have the best intentions for you. That's not always the case, but I feel like Pisces energy in this realm ultimately wants to merge with everybody and have a spiritual experience, but not everybody is there for that. And this is going to give you a new level of discernment. Before we get into the whole spread, just a reminder that I do love readings monthly by sign, and they are available for purchase below on my website. They come out the middle of the month, so they'll be out between the 14th and the 15th, and they cover from that part of the middle of April to the middle of May. You know what I mean? Like, they're still a month long. So check out all that info in the description box. All right, my Virgos. So I'm laughing off rip because myself and anyone with a strong Virgo placement that I did a year ahead reading for received this card as their overall energy. And obviously we've moved into the astrological new year, and here it is again. We have patience. Okay. I can't remember what everyone got by sign for their new, or I didn't do a year ahead for the channel. Anyways, patience. Patience. This, I feel like, is something that Virgos struggle with, that people that don't know us like super intimately or have some type, or don't have any type of like deep emotional connection with us, don't realize how much we lack patience. Okay, and our patience and our lack of patience comes from mostly the feeling that if we don't know what's going to go on, that we're not going to be prepared to handle it, right? On some level. Now, what I found fascinating was on the bottom of the deck when patience came out was hostilities. And I feel like that's what Virgo is needing to be patient about this month, is that when you feel triggered in some capacity, when you feel like someone's coming for you, and usually they're not. It's more so like that's, I mean, maybe they are, but usually I feel like it's not. It's just like when you get when you have the desire to get hostile, I feel like that's a bigger push to be patient, because hostility is like up in arms type of energy. And I feel like hostility is really birthed from being unsettled in your own energy and not being able to deal with the factor of not knowing. You know what I mean? That can breed a lot of hostility because you want answers, you want movement, you want proof, you want shifting, you want changing or whatever. And when things are just even, when they're just like not necessarily progressing in a measurable manner, but they're not really going to shit either, they're just kind of there, that can bring up a lot of antsy type of energy. And I feel like hostility can be an antsiness. It can be a tension, right? And if you have a desire to feed off tension, or you need tension to know that like things are happening or that there's a need to shift something, I feel like Spirit is trying to teach you that the biggest blessings take a long time to come into physical fruition. And if you don't know how to sit into the patience of surrender through Spirit, that is where your challenge is going to lie, because the only major arcana cards that we have here are in the spiritual advice sector. And there's a huge focus on how, yes, we do have free will. Yes, we do have autonomy, and we can do whatever we want to do with our daily life. But at the end of the day, there are certain lessons that we have to move through to transcend on our path. And if we freak out every time we hit that lesson, and don't want to have the patience to put in all the work, or don't want to have the patience to see the results of our work, then we are going to meet it again down the road. And we're not always going to be able to be kind of up in arms. And, in the outcome, we do have the Page of Swords, which in this case, he is taking a very similar stance to this man. So I feel like this is also talking about a need to move away from a hostile mental environment, because I think that, Virgo, that you're struggling with best case scenario thinking. And I feel like I've been talking about this for a few months, but I'm very Virgo dominant. A lot of my followers are very Virgo dominant. So here we are. Overall energy is the Three of Cups, which is beautiful Aries energy, reminding us that ultimately life is to have fun. Okay? Life is to be lived in every single moment. And that requires a lot of presence. And when you are pushing to be present with yourself, you also need to be patient in terms of manifestation and knowing what it all means, right? We're not going to know what it all means if we're not present and just living in the moment and enjoying ourselves. Sidebar, a stink bug, like those water bugs, y'all know what I'm talking about, flew onto the table and is on the card table and out of sight that you can't see right now. And I don't know if they have a spiritual meaning. They must. But homie is in my shell right here. See him? Like, this is real life. I don't like bugs, but, I'm going to put him in my plant over here. Maybe he'll grab on. Please get off, sir. I don't want to kill him on camera. Come on, family. Ah! All right. I'm going to have to kill him. This is not the wave. All right, didn't kill him. Got him to go on the big plant. He might come back, though. Anyways. So, what Spirit is asking you to release is the Four of Pentacles with the rune Journey and the Ten of Cups. We cannot control the outcome of anything. Besides, all we can do is check in with ourselves by staying present, checking in with ourselves and asking ourselves, how do we feel right now? Does this feel good to me? Right? Because, and now that's different than saying something feels good to you because you're comfortable with it, or something doesn't feel good to you simply because you're in a space that you're not normally in, right? Those are different. But the Four of Pentacles has a mentality that at any moment, especially combined with the Ten of Cups, what you love most is going to be taken from you. Because the Ten of Cups type of love is different than the Three of Cups. Because Three of Cups isn't necessarily love. It's more of like camaraderie. And it's a feel-good space, right? It's enjoying people for who they are. And the Ten of Cups, technically you should too, right? Unconditional love means acceptance. But with the Four of Pentacles, it's like, I want to so desperately control the way that love comes to me, the way that I experience fulfillment, the way that I experience the people around me, the way I experience family, the way I experience all of that stuff. There's a deep desire to have your hand in every single detail. And that takes away so much mystery, especially when it comes to the rune journey of the overall path. And I feel like this month, I almost said Spirit, but Virgo, I think you're going to have to really take a back seat to what Spirit is offering you. Like, your job this month is to loosen, and ground. Okay? Because what's so beautiful is what's coming in for you, what door is now open that was once closed. We have the Six of Wands with the Two of Wands, and on the Two of Wands we have the rune Love. So I like that the Two of Wands is also facing the Six of Wands. He's like looking at all the success. And a couple things. This isn't my love reading. I do those separate. However, we can gain a lot of attention, right? And we may associate love or attraction with attention, but that's not necessarily the same thing. And I feel like the Two of Wands is giving you a different perspective on love, okay? And on the things that we love. And I feel like also Virgo needs to realize that even though we tend to be categorized as a sign that lives behind the scenes and blah, 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 We love admiration. We love having someone say, I appreciate the work that you do. I think that you're phenomenal. And that's Six of Wands energy. Six of Wands energy is spotlight that's earned, not spotlight that's like Leo style where you like just have to claim it. You know what I mean? So there also is a theme here too. If you've never successfully been in a healthy relationship, or if you've never been successful at work and had love, I feel like you need to expand the possibilities on that. I feel like the Two of Wands is asking you to expand your definition of what success is, as well as what love is, and what successful love is, and what a successful partnership is. And I also feel like you need to be able to visualize, like in your mind's eye, what it would look like if you were succeeding in all areas of your life. Because I feel like there's also a death. I was talking about this on Twitter a couple days ago. I feel like there's a death of compartmentalization happening right now in Virgo as well as Scorpio. And I feel like all the earth signs are big compartmentalizers. Okay? And if that's not available to you, if you're not able to tuck away this emotion and bring it out in this setting, and tuck away this part of yourself and bring it out in that setting, what would you do? If you had to be 100% all aspects of you in every moment, that level of transparency, what would that be like for you? Because ultimately, 10 of Cups type of love, someone that's there through thick and thin, right? That has decided to start a life with you for going that route. They have to be able to witness you in every capacity. And you may not even be able or be okay with witnessing every aspect of yourself in that capacity. So you need to think about that. You need to think about what that feels like. Because again, I feel like you absolutely will be successful in starting to envision different ways of allowing love into your life as well, because love obviously comes in many different forms. It's not just romantic. And again, I think that this month with the Three of Cups, you need to really focus on what it means to be a friend and what it means to have true friends that love you, that can support you. Because not that your partner has to be your best friend, but they have to have qualities that are friend-like, right? In the sense that you need to feel at home with people. Your current energy as it relates to all of this. In your head, we have the Knight of Cups with the rune Victory. In your heart, the Nine of Pentacles. And in your foundation, we have the Ten of Swords. So at the root of it all, right, with patience being the overall theme, because this isn't really talking about movement here either. I mean, the Six of Wands people see you and notice you, but the Two of Wands they're noticing the expansion of your vision. Not actually, this isn't physical energy. This is the only Pentacles card here besides the one that you're releasing. So what's most important right now is you. Okay? How you feel, how you respond, how you show up. Because the Ten of Swords in your foundation, I feel like is a relinquishing of the overwhelming mental energy that siphons you and your ability to respond to life in a way that is void of hostility. Okay? Because this Ten of Swords to me is the realization that thinking about everything and what it means and when it's coming and when it's going and when you're going to see the lesson is fucking exhausting, and you got to give it a rest. You know what I mean? It's one of those. It's one of those. You either trust yourself or you don't. You either trust the divine or you don't. All these conditions, you know what I'm saying? You either trust your choices or you don't. And Virgo struggles with blind faith, right? In Pisces, energy is all about blind faith. We have Venus there, right, for this month. And where are you willing to surrender? Nine of Pentacles in your heart space, you are 120% aware of how much you're worth and what your value is. And you are no longer going to compromise on your standards when it comes to love. Like, you have yourself in your heart. So if you used to sacrifice yourself for love and you're afraid that like you're going to do it again, you need to just be patient with rewriting your mind. Okay, that's what this is here too. Because the Page of Swords and the outcome, I know I'm jumping ahead, but the Page of Swords and the outcomes, the Page of Swords can be skeptical as fuck, right? Because he reads between every line, he listens to everybody, he tries to make sure that he's not missing any type of message, that he's not, you know, construing one thing for another. And that also takes us out of the moment as well, right? The Nine of Pentacles, though, in your heart space, you value your autonomy. You value your individuality. So if you value those things to your core, do you really have to worry about them being up for grabs in any type of scenario that you're waiting to manifest, especially when it comes to like whether or not are you loving enough? Do you love yourself enough to draw in a relationship? If that's up for question, I feel like that is, you know, absolutely not the problem. With the Knight of Cups in your heart and your headspace, with the rune Victory, it's important to think about being vulnerable as a success story. Meaning, like the Knight of Cups is very slow moving, and he really savors the moment, right? And I feel like it's important to be open to romantic thoughts or like really sweet, loving thoughts that normally you would overthink. Because I feel like you get open to this kind of stuff and then you're like, okay, but what does it mean ultimately? Like, what is that going to mean to my end goal? What is that going to mean to in reference to me? And the Knight of Cups is like a poetic energy, right? I talk about this as like, I'll joke and I say that I know I'm in love when I think in sonnets, right? And with the success rune here, I feel like, or the victory rune, I feel like it is going to be helpful in getting you into this place that you need to be in, okay? If you have much more loving, romantic thoughts about life in general. I feel like you're so concerned that you're going to end up delusional. You're so concerned that you're going to end up, you know what I mean, missing the message and getting screwed over, that you're not allowing yourself to actually have those like really pleasant, loving, enjoyable thought processes, okay? Because the Three of Cups is about having fun, right? The Three of Cups is about enjoying your life. And the key to enjoying your life is to allowing yourself to kind of saunter and reminisce and experience the sweetness of life and not question for a second whether or not you're valuing yourself or whether or not you're honoring your boundaries and all that kind of stuff. I feel like you've locked all that in. You just need to heal the mind. Okay, and that's why Spirit's advice for you is the Star with the Emperor. And on the Emperor, we have the rune Fertility. You need to believe in your innate ability to guide your life through Spirit, right? Because the Emperor is a leader and he's a boss and he's very sure of himself. It's the mature energy of the Four of Pentacles which you're being asked to release, and he has the rune Fertility on him. So I feel like this is saying that through Spirit, you will achieve the rest of the strength and control you feel like you're lacking, okay? Because the Emperor, being as wise and as older as he is, he also knows that at times, all we can really do is surrender. We can just trust that we've done our part. We can trust that we've done enough and we can surrender. So I also feel like through Spirit, through renewing yourself and giving your fears over to Spirit, you will also feel more grounded and more secure. I feel like this is a big root chakra thing and a throat chakra thing. Okay? This is like the two areas that you're going to be focused on this month. And I think that your root chakra is almost there. And like once your root chakra locks into place and you don't feel like it's only a matter of time before something comes out the blue, something that you missed mentally that you should have seen comes out the blue and blindsides your stability. I feel like that's the fear. I feel like the fear is that you're going to wait around for something or, you know, think that you're overstaying your welcome or miss a message and you're going to get blindsided. And that's not the case at all. Okay? Because the Emperor, again, with fertility, is talking about how you have plenty of opportunities to be mature and take control, right? While simultaneously the Star believing in what logically seems impossible. So I feel like you're having to adapt or adopt a steadfast, very spiritually rooted sense of self this month, Virgo. because this is a very mature, unquestionable energy. All this energy you've spent questioning what's happening, or questioning what's good for you, or questioning what feels good, Spirit's like, shut up already. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just like, shut up already, because the star gives it all back, right? This is Aquarian energy. So also, what theme was coming up during Aquarius season that is coming to get locked in now at Aries season? Because I feel like you have a lot of opportunities, and I feel like also there's this fear that you're going to do something that's going to limit your chances, and in reality, if you work with the divine, if you're willing to really trust the higher power, that they're going to deliver you exactly what you need to live a very grounded life, a very sure of yourself life. There's more coming to you. Also, the star is completely naked and the emperor is like highly clothed. So I also feel like there's a lot of fruitful energy in duality. I feel like in spirituality, we often condemn duality. We're like, oh, we have to transcend the third dimension and get to the fifth, blah, 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 all that stuff. This is still Earth, and it is still a place of duality. And duality absolutely has the power to coexist. And I feel like that is a huge message this month as well. If you yearn for something, if you desire love in a certain expression, if you desire to be able to be loved unconditionally, but also focus primarily on your career, or focus primarily on your independent, projects, or want to get attention from thousands of people, or just, whatever. Like, one person can't do everything. So I feel like, especially if you're breaking down barriers with being compartmentalized, I feel like the key is realizing that the way that you compartmentalize your life in a healthy manner is realizing that certain people can only fill certain roles. And when you have more of a place of ease, and you approach things with a place of ease, and understand that people can only be so much for you, and you have to be the rest for yourself, or find someone else that can fill that gap, that's okay too. That's about knowing when things are ripe and when they're not. The most likely outcome moving into May is the Page of Swords with the Eight of Cups. On the Eight of Cups, we do have luck. So I feel like it's time to transcend, again, this idea that you need to keep your ear to the streets or your ear to the ground, because if you let up your guard, or you let down your guard, and you're not like clocking every piece of little information that comes and goes, that you're going to miss something and get clowned. I feel like that's essential, because the Eight of Cups talks about leaving behind something that just doesn't really resonate with our soul anymore. And I also feel like luck and fate are different, in my opinion. And with the luck rune on the Eight of Cups, I feel like you also need to leave behind a streak of experiences in your life that you feel like you were unlucky, or that things just were not in your favor, and that you need to be skeptical that that's going to happen again. I feel like what you're needing to leave behind is skepticism more than anything. I'm going to be honest. These are Gypsy Oracle cards. They're like storytelling cards. I just want to see something really quick. I use them in my love readings. Yeah, you know better. You know better. You have all the you always have all the information that you need. No questions asked. Never do you ever miss a beat. So you don't need to expend so much energy. You don't need to expend so much energy making sure that you're not missing the message. I feel like that's a waste. And not getting so overwhelmed when things aren't transpiring the way that you thought they were going to. Because something that I think we all struggle to identify with, and this is an energy that I embody, that I'm often blind to. Pride is a bitch, especially when it runs in an unconscious program. And pride manifests itself in a multitude of ways. But I feel like sometimes it interferes with our relationship with spirit, because pride lacks faith, right? There's this feeling that you know better. And it's not that you don't on some level. You're very smart, you're very intelligent, you're very self-aware, but you don't know more than the non-physical ever. You know, I low-key want to cry right now because pride can rob us of so many beautiful experiences because we just refuse to yield. You know what I mean? And spirit is going to beg your ass to yield this month, especially if you want to see a broader horizon for what you resonate with as love, what love means to you and what you're needing right now. Because haughtiness with faithfulness on the star is saying that if you're committed to your pride, I feel like you're going to struggle to surrender. But if you surrender over your pride into having faith for the divine, you won't have that skeptical ass feeling like you feel like you need to monitor yourself or monitor the people in your life and monitor the people that you love. And instead, you can focus all that energy into creative pursuits, into living your best life. Like Virgo wants more than anything to just be able to like have someone love them and love someone in return and not have to be like vigilant about it and can go about their like very service oriented life, and but they don't want to necessarily serve their partner. A lot of times they do it, but it's because they're not feeling the fulfillment in other areas. But Virgo, I think this is going to be a great month for us. There's a lot to learn here, and I love you all very much. Again, if you're interested in a love reading, all that info is below. I'm also going to be opening my books to personal readings again, but the method is going to change. So if you want to get on my mailing list so that you know about the changes first, that's the best bet for you, okay? Talk to you soon. Peace.